Welcome to my self-filmed hunt. This would be the quintessential driving shot that all these hunting shows seem to have in them. My case is no exception. I'm traveling about 6 hours, I'm guessing today, up into northern Minnesota, about 10 miles from the Canadian border. This is an area we've hunted for nearly, I should say, over 25 years now. And while it's not the easiest place to get a deer, it's our place to get a deer. And that's what this adventure is all about. You know, when I set out to do this project, the guys I worked with kind of were puzzled as to why I would want to do this. It's a little unusual for an outdoor producer to turn the camera on themselves, but after 8 years, I decided I would love to profile my deer camp. 7 years ago, I did a short video on this very camp that is on YouTube, but I thought I would bring the high-def cameras this time and see if we couldn't get an episode of North American Hunter out of it. When I rolled in, I had to sight in the Ruger American rifle I had. Well, here I am at camp. We got everything unloaded, got the rifle sighted in, and now I'm pretty much ready to go with what daylight I have left to get the tree arm set up in my tree that I'll be hunting out of in the morning. Now, this is something I obviously would have loved to have daylight for, but such as the day has gone, I'm just happy to be in here and not full of mud, so off I go. Talk about your do-it-yourself hunts. I was unable to find my tree. By the time I got out there, it was dark. There was blowing snow, and got lost and decided it wasn't worth this. So I called it and decided that I would scamper up in the morning and get my tree arm up for opener. Getting the camera arm up was easy enough, but I filmed it, and while it was filming, enough snow got on the camera that it went down. Now I am running back to camp before I've even started hunting with a camera problem. We dried it out, took it apart, but it seems to still have an issue. So I'm gonna have to punt. So I did the only thing I could, and that is I grabbed the small B camera we have here, and I took that out in the tree with me for the first day's hunt. Up here, but I'm able to use this camera, and now all I need is something to come in. Well, we're losing our light here on day one. It's been a pretty quiet day, a little bit eventful, losing a camera. Hopefully I can get that going tonight. Basically, we've had a wet day, a snowy day, and a hopeful day. Glad to have the stuff up in the tree here, and hopeful for day two. We'll see if we can get on something. Part of the adventure of deer camp is the hardship up here. That's why we called ourselves Hard Luck, I guess. This year was no exception. Eric got a flat coming up, which waylaid him a few hours. And then as he and Craig were preparing stands the night before opener, on the way back, their ATV lost a tire that came off the rim, and they walked 3 miles home. It's what happens up here sometimes. Having someone like Doug in camp is remarkable. He is a mechanical genius, and he keeps us rolling, keeps things moving. He was able to take that tire and take it off the rim, clean it up, and put a strap around it and pump it full of compressed air. When that didn't work, he knew enough to apply some oil to the inner rim, and wouldn't you know, they got that tire fixed. Eric and Doug hooked it up to air compressor here, put a strap around it, chain oil here, and through what, according to me, is nothing more than magic, got this whole thing back together. They don't teach you that in college. At least not. The teamwork and the camaraderie is always enjoyable.
We set out to make some spoons because we didn't bring anyone with us. We didn't bring any utensils except, as usual, a knife to stir things. And I hollowed out this. We tried burning it, but that did absolutely jack. Not a thing. It just made the wood harder to cut. And then Eric did the handle here.
Yeah, well, Lance has a pretty busy day usually, so he was kind enough to fit me in his schedule, and we decided to whittle spoons.
I'm proud of it.
We had heart, liver, Rocky Mountain oysters, and the first night we were here we couldn't get the gas stove to work, so we cooked it out on the fire, and that was something nice.
Hot brandies, you know, we've been having it forever. Year after year, Craig has been pretty much the brandy master.
With the speed and accurate shoot, you usually had Lance pushing us out of the way to get another piece of fish.
Fish, yeah. Just a beautiful morning here on day 2. Back up in my tree, got the big camera going again. So I'm hoping today's the day. I don't know about you, but I find that I kind of hit a wall after about 4 hours of sitting in a tree, especially if I'm not seeing animals. So tell you what, why don't you come along and I'll show you how my hunt continues down below. Since I typically like to stay out all day, I wanted to make sure that my downtime on the ground was as productive as it could be. So I cut some shooting lanes to give myself ample opportunities should something come when I'm on the ground. And I also brushed in a couple little blinds on either side of the tree here. So even if I'm napping at the base of my tree, I'm basically ready. The rifle I'm using is the Ruger American 270, probably the ideal caliber for this application. Plenty of knockdown power, and our optics are Burris. I really like the reticle in this E1. Now all I need is something to point it at. Well, we're about to the end of shooting right here on day 2. Once again, pretty slow for action, but I'm still pumped up. We have one more day left. I'm ready to go for tomorrow morning. First light. Well, Eric got a 10-point buck on opener, and that added to our jubilation.
And I tried calling it in, came in a little closer, but then it started to walk away. So then I had kind of one last shot, and I could only see pretty much its head, just because there's a lot of brush that I was shooting by, and basically shot it in the neck.
It's a crisp, cold morning in Minnesota, let me tell you. It's down in the single digits. We get the wind blowing, so it's kind of hard to press on and sit when it's this tough, but you know, that's something. As my brother once said, you know, you gotta sit there until you think you are the stupidest fool for still sitting in that tree. I really can't say enough about this Blackhawk bag I have with me. This thing has weathered the elements. It's carried my lunch. It's carried the camera up and down the tree. An amazing help. Just really a bulletproof bag by Blackhawk. I better get out of the woods. It's time to go.
Year after year we've been coming up here. It's hell getting up here, but at the end of the trip, you know, we only come up here once a year, and that's pretty much for a reason.
Hit a flat tire, lights burnt out, Doug just had to cut a log.
We have played hell getting into our hunting area over the years. We used to try it in trucks. We now use only ATVs.
Sometimes we've got to cut a tree out of the trail or dig out an especially nasty muck hole.
But I have to say, I really have enjoyed it this year, despite not seeing any deer. And that really reflects what deer camp means, is that you come up for different reasons than just getting deer. The peace and tranquility you find up here is a real special feeling.